Yahya Jammeh has agreed to step down as leader of the Gambia and is set to leave the country. Now, his concession comes a day after the winner of the presidential election, Adama Barrow, was sworn in at the Gambian embassy in Dakar, Senegal. The long-term Gambian leader had been given until 12 noon today to vacate office, but he asked for an extension till 4 p.m. The deadlines were given by ECOWAS. Barrow's legitimacy as president has been recognized internationally after he won last month's elections. Let's cross over to Abuja now. Here's Ivy Clem. Hey, Ivy.
The Governors Forum of the People's Democratic Party has appointed the State Governor of Ekiti State, Mr. Ayodele Fayose, as chairman. Mr. Fayose is taking over the affairs of the forum from the former chairman, Governor Olusegun Mimiko of Ondo State, whose tenure as governor of the state will be ending next month. Addressing journalists after his appointment, Governor Fayose reaffirmed the commitment of governors to reposition the party and save it from its current leadership crisis.
I take this responsibility at a time the party needs somebody to stand up, and I'm sure you all know that we will do it to represent you and to represent Nigerians well. It is a call to build the walls of Jericho. It is a call to make a difference. And I want to assure you within the next few months, the mobilization, the consultation will be so effective, and there will be a new beginning for our party, different and enriching. I appreciate Governor Olusegun Mimiko for his contribution. He's done his best. Because time will not permit him, somebody has to take over. I'm taking over to actually continue the good works and what he has done so well for our party. Come 2019, we will take over again. You will recall in some quarters, the belief that the party is divided. It's in the imagination of such people saying such, or to represent their selfish interest. But in a short while, very soon, the party will be stronger than ever.
Nigeria's immediate past president, Dr. Goodluck Jonathan, today visited former President Olusegun Obasanjo at his Ibogun town in Ogun State, southwest Nigeria. Dr. Jonathan arrived at Ibogun around noon and was received by community leaders and members of the community. The outcome of the meeting, held behind closed doors and lasting about an hour, was not made public. However, Chief Obasanjo said he appreciated Dr. Jonathan and the team for their visit, describing it as remarkable. Dr. Jonathan, on his part, declined giving details of the meeting, saying it was a private one. To the northwest, the indigenous Fulani people in southern Kaduna have expressed a commitment to stop the killings and wanton destruction of property by suspected herdsmen. They made the pledge at a meeting between Fulani and natives of southern Kaduna, organized by an international non-governmental organization, Global Peace Foundation Nigeria.
Many communities have come under heavy attack by suspected herdsmen in southern Kaduna, resulting in loss of lives and property. Presently, many families are displaced from their homes, while socio-economic activity is paralyzed. In an attempt to get a permanent solution to the lingering crisis in the area, a non-governmental organization, Global Peace Foundation Nigeria, organized this meeting with indigenous Fulani leaders and Christian leaders in the axis.
Our organization is taking a very neutral position. We are not taking any side of any party. We are very open. We want to, as much as possible, mediate with the different groups that are involved in the issues that are causing the crisis in your community.
During the interactive session, attended by community and religious leaders from both sides, all the stakeholders identify lack of tolerance and forgiveness for one another as largely responsible for the recent attacks in southern Kaduna. They resolved to sheath their swords.
All the politicians we elected into this government, most of them, they are just here to foil the crisis. They are benefit from the crisis. We are calling our people, let them maintain peace. Nobody will win the war. war, nobody will going to win. We have to take patience and live together.
In their separate remarks, the Northern co-coordinators of the group, Reverend John Hayab and Sheikh Haliru Damaraya, reminded the participants on the need to always recognize dialogue as the most effective tool in resolving disputes.
This crisis should stop. We want peace. If people resolve the crisis should stop, they want peace, then we will start working towards peace. Okay, until we resolve that we want peace, then we will start working, acting, speaking towards peace. Because the way and manner people speak these days is really sad.
This meeting, which has the theme, Active Involvement of Fulanis in Southern Kaduna Peace-Building Process, is expected to go a long way towards restoring peace to the troubled areas, with the participants of Fulani extraction across the 8 local government areas of Southern Kaduna.
Meanwhile, the former governor of Kaduna State, Balarabe Musa, has accused politicians of perpetrating the violence in Southern Kaduna. Mr. Musa, who was speaking to journalists in Kaduna, also identified what he described as a negative state of the nation and lack of respect for human life as being responsible for the continued crisis. He called on the people of Kaduna State, irrespective of their religion and ethnicity, to get together to end the killings.
The problem has 5 roots, causes of the problem. First of all, the negative state of the nation. Which brings about lack of respect for human life. Throughout the country, this is happening. What is happening in Southern Kaduna can happen anywhere in Nigeria, and it is right now happening in other parts of Nigeria. So the state of the nation, there is no respect for human life. The second root of the problem is the high level of poverty in the southern part of the country as compared with even the northern part of the country.
And that's it from Abuja. Back to Ijoma in Lagos.
Thanks a lot, Ivy. Now, the British High Commissioner to Nigeria, Mr. Paul Arkwright, believes the crisis in the Niger Delta requires more of a political solution than military. In an interview with Channels Television, Mr. Arkwright says the recent visits of the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, to the region to dialogue with leaders is a welcome development.
What I saw in that visit was a government, a federal government, that is ready to engage with the people of the Delta, which is looking for dialogue and a political settlement as the way out. And I was very encouraged by that. The Vice President saw a number of key people down there. It's very much, as I see it, part of that strategy of dialogue, which of course was kicked off by the meeting that the President had with the Pan-Niger Delta Forum a little while ago here in Abuja. I very warmly welcome the Vice President's visit there. I think it's symptomatic of a willingness of the federal government to engage, and I hope that they continue with that, because as I've said in the past, I do not think that a military solution to what is happening in the Delta is viable in any way. A political solution is what is necessary, and for a political settlement to really take root, there needs to be dialogue and discussion and maybe disagreement, but also agreement. But you need to talk to each other, and that's why I was particularly encouraged by the visit of the Vice President last week.
British High Commissioner to Nigeria, Mr. Paul Arkwright. To make the most of developing its oil sector, Nigerians will have to take certain decisions by asking critical questions in the wake of revelations from the 2014 audit of the oil and gas sector. This is according to the Executive Secretary of the Nigerian Extractive Industries and Transparency Initiative, Waziri Adio, who said NATI has done its bit by exposing the shortcomings of certain institutions. He said making progress from there lies in the hands of Nigerians, and he was speaking on our program, Hard Copy.
we recognize the need to have an NPDC, a national oil company that is involved in exploration, right? There's no doubt. We realize that they need to build capacity. There's no doubt about that. But we have to ask ourselves, at what cost? At what cost? You give your most productive assets to a company, and they are enjoying all the benefit that should have come to the country, and they are not paying anything. That is one. Two, how do you value assets? How do you value them in a way that you make sure that you have the best value for them? And you also have to decide, do we want to divest, or do we want them to manage this so that we'll continue to get all the benefits from this? So those are critical questions. Our own job is to make sure that we put the information in the public domain. To say NPDC is owing $3.3 billion from legacy liabilities, 68 billion naira from legacy liabilities, $1.7 billion from the Shell divested assets, $2.2 billion, from the now divested asset. Imagine all this money that we're talking about. Imagine what that comes to.
When the News at 10 returns, federal government says its revenue has increased by 13 billion naira. To join us again.